Betting became my prayer. With every click, I begged chance to make me a god for one more second. Hello. This video has a special challenge for you. I removed many words so you can practice your listening. Listen carefully. Comment if you managed to find them all or if you need help. Let's go. It was late. One of those hours the city itself dares not name. In the dirty reflection of the glass window, I saw a tired man, or maybe just the shadow of what was left of me. It had been a while since coffee had any taste, since the days arrived wearing the same suit, the same exhaustion, the same clicking of keyboards at the bank. But not that night. That night, something in me gave way. And it wasn't out of need. It wasn't hunger. It was something else, a deeper kind of thirst. Do you understand? Sometimes what breaks us isn't the lack, it's the excess of emptiness. And there, between passwords, access logs, and sleeping numbers, I saw an opening, a whisper, an invitation. I could have said no, but the silence inside me was already screaming. That's how it all began, with nothing, and with nothing, I went too far. My name, printed on the badge, was just a formality. No one looked twice. No one remembered me at the end of the day. The bank was a soulless machine. Everything worked, as long as no one thought too much. And well, I learned how to be invisible. I arrived early. Spreadsheets, code, privileged access. 3 floors of silence broken only by keyboards and plastic smiles. That was where I spent my days, like a shadow with a login. Over time, I saw where the holes were, dead spaces in the system, transfers no one audited closely, forgotten accounts, residual balances, and a password that opened more than it should. At first, it was just curiosity. What if I... The unanswered question became routine. I started to mentally collect the details. Distracted clients, predictable audits, fragile reports. But I still hadn't done anything. It was still just a thought growing like a stain on the wall. Silent, persistent. It was as if something was waiting for me patiently in the dark, and I was already walking toward it. The first embezzlement was ridiculous. Sense. Like someone touching the edge of the abyss with the tip of a finger. And no one noticed. No sirens, no voices. That was it. Just that. I tested it again, and again, and again. I started sleeping better, because it wasn't insomnia anymore. It was strategy. I transferred small amounts, money forgotten by those who had too much. On one side, $1 billion bank. On the other, me, a number that had learned to rewrite code. I used ghost names, accounts that existed only between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. Then they vanished, just like I wanted to vanish too. But what drove me forward wasn't the money. It was the silence, the morbid peace of knowing I could, that no one was watching. Until one night, I met her. Not Lenore, not a muse, but a black and red screen with a green button that said, "Bet now." There, the void changed shape. It became a game, and I played with the calm of a man who no longer cares about losing. It started with 200. It doubled again. That week, I made more in a single night than in months of salary. And what the game gave me in minutes, it took back in sleepless hours. Betting became my prayer. With every click, I begged chance to make me a god for one more second. I lost track of the days, of the figures, of the fears. I started living between bank statements and win statistics. On the screen, numbers danced. In life, everything stood still. If I won, I laughed alone. Dry laughs, like someone watching a fire from afar. If I lost, I doubled the bet, because money was no longer money. It was the only pulse whispering, "You're still here." At the bank, the suit felt tighter. I sweated, lied with ease. "You look tired," they said. I smiled. They didn't know, couldn't imagine that on that very day I had lost my rent, my peace, and my soul in a card game I barely noticed turning. I embezzled more. 11 million. 11. Not out of ambition, out of desperation. I began forging authorizations, created invisible recipients. Everything fit together like a clock built by trembling hands. And every success made me fail deeper. I'd place bets even during my lunch break. With each loss notification, a silence, a knot, a new transfer. I was no longer stealing from the bank. I was stealing from myself, from my chance to stop. And still, I clicked. That morning, the system was slow to load. My badge failed on the first try. A tiny detail, but it pulsed like an omen. There was a new manager, too young to raise suspicion, or maybe just young enough to notice things too quickly. He asked for a meeting, subtle questions, staged smiles. I pretended to stay calm, said I was updating data, delayed transfers, small stuff. But deep down, I knew the silence around me had grown heavier, that the office halls no longer whispered, they watched. That afternoon, I tried to erase traces, delete logs, cover transactions. But numbers don't forget, and the servers were already recording my every move, every keystroke, every glance at the monitor. And still, I placed a bet, one more time, like someone confessing without words. This time, I lost everything, not just the money, but the last thread of illusion. Night fell, and with it came the knock at the door. It wasn't the wind, nor a nightmare. They were real voices, uniforms, printed warrants. The hand that once signed contracts now trembled to sign confessions. They asked me, why? I answered with my eyes fixed on the white wall, where I imagined the red glow of the Place Bet Now button. Now, time doesn't pass, it drags. The walls are cold and give back no echo. And yet I hear the sound that haunts me the most, the click I used to make before losing. There's no screen here, no bet, only memory. The newspapers spoke of me, unfaithful employee, $1 million embezzlement, addiction or greed. But none of them heard what I hear every night, my own heartbeat racing at the roll of a virtual die. An addiction that doesn't burn from the inside, it rots. I write these words not out of remorse, but out of exhaustion. I stole, I gambled, I lost. And what hurts isn't the years I have left in here. It's knowing that even if I were free, I'd never return to who I once was. Who I was before the first click, before believing you could beat chance. They called me a thief, a criminal, a traitor. But in the mirror, I only see a man who wanted too badly to escape his own absence, and dug his home into it, his grave. And if one day, by irony or forgetfulness, I walk the streets again as a free man, may no one wish me luck, because luck, my friend, is what brought me here.